Welcome to another podcast episode created with opulent intentions. Today we have a very special guest joining us. Golden is a licensed associate clinician who specializes in substance abuse, anxiety, women's issues, and mild depression. With her expertise in life coaching and certifications in cognitive behavioral therapy, and dialectical behavioral therapy, she has helped numerous individuals overcome their challenges and find new patterns of behavior that promote their well being. So, welcome, Golden. Would you like to tell us anything about yourself before we start or introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning. Again, I go by Golden. My specialty is cognitive behavioral therapy. My training is in DBT, substance abuse, also domestic violence, women's health, just an overall spectrum of things related to working on how to change how we think as well as emotional regulation. Some of the things are is I can teach you all of the coping skills in the world. We can teach you how to challenge your negative thoughts, but if you can't figure out how to regulate those emotions, then all of those skills will go out the window at certain times, especially during times of crisis.
That's actually our topic for today. We're going to be touching on seasonal depression and navigating seasonal challenges, overcoming holiday blues and seasonal depression, all the feelings and emotions that hit us at the end of the year. One of the things I wanted to ask so that our audience has a better understanding is if you could explain what seasonal depression is and how it differs from general depression.
Okay, so when we start trying to separate seasonal from general depression, I mean, depression is depression. One of the things we notice with season is as we get towards the fall season, there's the lack of sunlight. Even here in Arizona, it's getting darker earlier, but we still go through the seasonal depression. Now, I'm originally from Michigan, and one of the things I can tell you this time of year in Michigan, there is hardly any sunlight at all. That's going to lead to a decrease in that very special vitamin D that we need. Seasonal depression means it's usually coming around the same time every year, like clockwork. It's going to happen. You're going to feel it mentally. You're going to feel it physically. Some of the things we'll start to notice physically is we're going to feel more tired. We're going to be more irritable. Some of us may even struggle with using some of our coping skills.
People who deal with depression all year round, they may also have seasonal depression, but because these two things differ, I wanted people to see like the signs, even those I feel like with regular depression may recognize that they have symptoms of seasonal depression as well and might have just blurred the two together and it just maybe felt like a lot of rainy days.
Well, one of the things I can tell you is when some of that seasonal depression is kicking in, again, like I say, it's going to work like clockwork, is you'll notice around certain times of year that the things that were able to kind of bring you out of that low mood, they're not working as effectively. Sometimes during certain seasons, again, if it's a consistent pattern you're learning about yourself, such as, okay, let's say when November or December comes around, it's like no matter what I do, everything is harder. Everything is struggle. I have to push myself more to do some of the things that may have been easier. I'll say, like for me, in the summertime, it's easier for me to get up, go to the gym. Sometimes during the winter time, it takes a lot more. I don't want to say motivation. It's just flat out discipline because it gets to the point where you're forcing yourself to do the things that you know are good for you, but you just can't find that quote unquote willpower or motivation, yet you still know that you need to do it.
I think it's very interesting that our patterns of behavior may also change as the seasons change. It's kind of like a reflection, or it's like we see the changes that happen outside in appearance. We may also experience some internal and even external, because some of us ladies, as we discussed, some of us have a foundation for the wintertime and a foundation for the summertime. So even our external, we experience changes during these seasonal changes. And I think it's just interesting to see like the seasonal shifts and how it can affect us internally, emotionally, externally, as well as everything, our outer appearance. When we go outside, everything changes.
A good point you bring up, especially when we brought up the having to go to a different type of foundation. Let's look at some of the colors that's going to be associated with this time of year. Even some of them tend to be not as bright. Like let's look at Easter. You got your bright pinks, your bright yellows, your bright purple. When we start looking at our fall colors, they tend to be darker in color, darker in nature. Then we also have to look at internally what kind of foods are we putting in our body. This time of year, it's known for it gets kicked off with what the pumpkin spice, the candy, the cookies, the overeating,
The
um,
sweet treats.
the sweet treats. So it's not swimsuit season, so there's not that extra motivation to let me eat right so I can at least look halfway decent in some of my summer clothes. We're looking at, hey, this is the most acceptable time of year for t-shirts and sweatpants. So again, a lot of us may tend to overindulge in some of those sweets. It can be easy because of all the holidays that are coming up. So sugar is a big thing. It does a lot of not so great things to the body. So we have to be careful of that. That's also going to be a contributing factor to depression as well. Now, don't get me wrong. One of the things that it does is as soon as you take in that favorite sweet treat, it does feel good, but you will crash.
Yes, I experienced this myself with those Target sugar cookies that I still look for sometimes. I think it would just be great to be mindful during this time of year that eating too many sweet treats could also overwhelm you or cause you to be more depressed or change your mood. So it's important to be mindful of all the sweet treats and how much of it that we are eating, and do we have some chlorophyll and something to detox it out. If you're going to put it in your body, you might as well try your best to detox it out.
Thing too. Another thing that we are constantly being exposed to during these times of years is all of the things associated with the holidays, such as the gift giving. It's the what do you see? What's the big thing that they're doing on social media? It's snuggle season.
Oh, yes.
This is
Cuddle
when you
season.
start cuddle season. This is when you start saying the things about get you a big boy, get you a big girl. You can stay warm during the holiday.
Yeah.
What else do we have? We also have, I want to say, Veterans Day. We have that coming up. That's another solemn moment. And then one of the things that we look at when we think of December 21st, 25th, like I'll ask you, what's the first thing that's coming to your mind when you hear the date, December 25th?
Christmas or
Okay.
Christmas Eve.
So one of the things about December 25th, it also happens to be the day of the year where people have the most heart attacks.
Mm.
December 25th is the date, and Mondays is the day of the week where people tend to have the most heart attacks. So now, we have to look at dealing with those feelings of loneliness. Okay. Now, here's the thing where when we start talking about loneliness, it tends to be a emotion that people tend to kind of invalidate in a sense because we live in a westernized society where we're taught to be fierce, be strong, be independent, or if you're lonely, just get up, go make some friends. It's not that always that easy, especially if you're dealing with social anxiety. A lot of people have some form of generalized or socialized anxieties. even though we have, again, the world at our fingertips with social media, it tends to be one of those things that can have a negative effect on our mental health overall. Because if we're already in a not so great mood, and then I go try and see what everybody else is doing on social media, of course, they're going to show all of the things that make them happy, that look fun. Look at what I got. I got married. I got this. And that doesn't help. One of the things people tend not to put on social media is that, you know what, today I woke up, I felt like shit. You won't
Yeah,
see
you
a
don't
whole
see
lot of
too
that.
many of those statuses.
And then they won't say how they made it through this crappy day. Or let's say, even if they did make it through the crappy day, it might look like I got up, I felt like crap, I got my coffee, I went to work, or I did my day as a mom, I went to bed and cried. You don't see a lot of those things on
No.
social media, yet there is a whole lot of people who are going to have that experience.
Yeah, that is very true. We've noticed a significant decrease in social interactions after COVID. So now that more people started communicating online, where there are less circumstances where we have like that person to person contact, which is not only causing people to struggle emotionally, but mentally as well. And then when we go back and out into the world, we are still lacking some of these communication skills that are required to build friendships. And building a friendship even requires consistency. Someone who's dealing with seasonal depression or depression in general may not have the ability to be as consistent of a friend, as they might want to be. So what are some self-care practices or lifestyle adjustments that can be helpful in alleviating symptoms of seasonal depression?
One of the very first things that you can do, whether it's seasonal depression or just, I'm just going to put it in depression overall,
Yeah.
you need to validate yourself and your feelings. Like I can say for me, I grew up in the time where you were just told you need to get over it. That is one of the most invalidating things that you could say to a person or even say to yourself. Take the time to ask what's going on with me, because those thoughts of depression, that's your mind, your body, your soul is trying to say that something is not right. It's almost like I'm thinking of, because I have one going off around here. Like when you hear your, what are those little fire alarms and the batteries are low. Sometimes those feelings of depression, that's your body's warning system. Okay. Now, when it comes to depression, because there are so many internal and external causes, it's definitely not going to be a one size fits all. One of the common things I notice with depression, and I call it the battle with reality. We all have this thinking in our head to where we tell ourselves, we should be this way, life should be this way, I should be more educated, I should weigh less, I should be married, I should. For one, it's our distortive thoughts and not accepting what's going on in the present moment. Okay. Accept who you are, accept that there's something going on that's contributing to me not feeling so well. All right. You also want to start to look at, what am I putting in my body? Am I eating the things that can help uplift my mood? Okay. If I'm just eating a diet that's high in carbs, that's high in fat, basically, if it tastes phenomenal all the time, okay, anything that has words in it that you can't pronounce, or pretty much more than one ingredient. Okay. Some things are going to have more than one ingredient. Let's take tea. Tea is going to be tea and water. Some things are going
Right.
to be natural, but have a couple ingredients in it. But when we start looking at three and up, and those are ingredients you can't identify, those are some of the things that you're going to be putting in your body. Those are going to be some of the chemicals you're putting in your body. You can't expect growth and to feel good if you're steady dumping toxins in your body. Same thing. Let's take something simple as a house plant. If I'm dumping things in it I can't pronounce, and well, I don't know what's all in plant food, but if you're dumping toxins in it, it tends to start to wither away. The brain and the body is no different. Um, Let's start with that. Now, let's look at exercise. And I'm not talking about you got to go run a mile a day. Some people, let's face it, they got kids, we got to work. We may not have time to hit the gym all the time. Sometimes some people may be too tired. What are some of the little things that I can do during the day that's going to get my heart rate moving, starting from the time when I get up? Start to find little things in your day that are fun. Such as what's some of the things I was watching one of the TV shows. I forget the lady's name, but I started mocking this habit. I noticed when she would brush her teeth, she would be walking around, she would be doing like leg extensions. Find creative ways to get in some type of muscle building. When you go to the bathroom, throw some squats in there. You're already going to be going up and down, anyways. Add
Yeah.
something extra, do some extra walking in place. And of course, if you have time, get outside and walk. Some places, again, it may be too cold. Walk indoors, but still, if you see some sun, take advantage of it. Go run outside to the end of your driveway and run back in. All right.
Yeah.
Who are your support systems? You need to be talking to them. Okay. Call up some of those friends, families, the one that you trust. Communicate with them.
Speaking of family and friends, what advice do you have for friends and family members who want to support someone dealing with seasonal depression?
One of the best things that you could simply do and say is just let them know. I don't, even if you do or don't know how they feel. Hey, I noticed, and never tell somebody, hey, I noticed you've been depressed as hell lately. That tends to kind of
Yeah.
hurt. Hey, I noticed that you have been, if there's a direct action that they're doing, point out that action that they're doing because they may not even notice it. I noticed that you're more quiet lately. I noticed that you've been staring in space. I noticed that you're not as talkative as you used to be. Point out the action that you've observed and say, I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm here. Is there anything, and I'd like to throw in within reason, is there anything within reason that I can do for you? Because if I can, I will. If I'm not able to, I can compromise. I'll let you know what I can and can't do. You have to let them know it's in reason because you may be also dealing with some of your own seasonal depression and you don't want to go into, well, let me go try and make this person happy and ignore yourself.
That is very true. I think we've given some helpful insights and advice to others for this time of year, not even just for this time of but just some things they could do with overall depression as well. The certain symptoms and the patterns of behavior that they should be looking out for. There's a lot of information that was given out.
Another thing that's going to be big is self-care. Again, listen to your body when it's telling you it's not feel good. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. One of the things I used to tell some of my ladies, even my men, to do is go find one of your favorite hand lotions. Keep it with you all the time. If you find yourself feeling stressed out, rub your hands with that lotion and just take the time to smell your hands. Just something as simple as that can increase dopamine. It's also a form of mindfulness because it's bringing you back into the moment. Think of the little things that you can do. Um, for those of you that have been working or neglecting yourself, write down some of the things that make you happy. Sometimes we get so caught up in day to day activities that we honestly forget to do the little things that make us happy. Make a list of those things and make yourself a priority. I always tell people to make that list into different categories. So these are the things I can do in less than 1 minute that make me happy. Then I'll go up to maybe 10, 30, an hour I got a half a day. So make it in different categories. Sometimes you'll have 5 minutes to make yourself happy. Sometimes you'll have 2 hours to make yourself happy. And make that
Yeah.
list in categories. Now, if you notice that you're eating right, you're doing self-care, okay, start to look at the bigger picture because sometimes, now I'm not for or against medication, but sometimes you really may want to consider speaking with a licensed professional. Sometimes, like for myself as a counselor, a therapist, what we do is we teach people to look at things from different perspectives. We teach them to get to know themselves. We help them explore different alternatives, and sometimes we help people to release the things that basically may be keeping them stuck. Now, you have your medical prescribers, those are typically going to be your psychiatrists. They're going to give you, medications that can increase serotonin, increase dopamine, because sometimes there are some people and they're naturally born with low levels of dopamine. A lot of times you're going to have chemical changes in the brain that are going to come from traumatic experiences. So keep therapy, keep medications, keep it as an option. But I definitely recommend try some of the natural ways first. People will be amazed on how just simply making a change in diet, increasing exercise, how beneficial that could be. One of the things is that we live in a society where we want it now and we want it fast. That's why substance abuse is so rampant. Now, I can't necessarily knock the method because it works. It's not a great coping skill, but it's one that works rather quickly. And again, because of the intense levels of dopamine it releases in the brain, addiction comes in at that point.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that sometimes in life, there's no quick, fast, easy solution. We got to work for it.
Yeah. And even if we choose to adopt a new pattern of behavior for a season, it will still require our consistency to help shift us out of regular or seasonal depression. So remember, like, even if you just try a new pattern of behavior for like a week, you're like, I don't know, I don't feel any better. And that consistency is going to keep you going. And one of the things I like to do that you kind of mentioned is just working with the time that you have and finding a way to make it a joyous experience. That way, you're naturally releasing that dopamine. I know this might not be the best example, but I really like making cookies. I like to bake, especially for others. And I don't know if it's just something about touching the sugars or the sweetness, because I don't usually eat it all the time. I just like to make it and give it to people. And that for me, it makes me feel good. Everybody around me like sweet treats. So sometimes if you have a certain hobby or passion that involves you crafting something or cooking something, that I feel like can release a little bit of stress too. So try different methods and see what works for you. Don't be scared to inquire for more help if you feel that it is necessary. There are so many different people out here who have services both online and in person that you can access now. So,
Introducing the Self Mastery Session, a transformative experience like no other. Are you seeking guidance, healing, and inner transformation? Look no further. On our website, we bring you the powerful combination of spiritual insight and guidance, as well as conversations with licensed associate clinicians. Immerse yourself in a recorded, personalized spiritual reading, connecting you to your higher self and divine guidance. Our self mastery sessions have already touched the lives of countless individuals, helping them find clarity, healing, and deep personal growth. Visit our website today to book your self mastery session. Take the first step towards a life of spiritual awakening and emotional well being. Illuminate your path Heal
I
yourself.
want to take the time to thank our guest, Golden. And if you have any questions about seasonal depression, you can definitely comment down below and we'll take a look at it and perhaps even make a video answering your question. So I hope you all have an amazing day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye bye.
Bye.
I
Thank
don't
you
know
for
what
having me.